Prince Harry has slithered off the visa scrutiny hook. A judge has ruled that there is no need for the details of his application to be revealed, which means that unless Trump wins the election, we may never find out whether Harry lied on the form after he revealed his drug-taking past in that ghastly memoir, Spare. Here's the thing. Imagine it were you or I who had filled in that form. Firstly, we wouldn't get the opportunity to keep what we'd written private. But secondly, why would we be concerned if we had nothing to hide? If you're innocent, Harry, why don't you just show us whether you admitted your drug-taking past on the forms? What's the big deal? US Judge Carl Nichols ruled on Monday that the public does not have a strong interest in disclosure of the Duke's immigration records. And like any foreign national, the Duke has a legitimate privacy interest in his immigration status. The judge added, Prince Harry moved to the US in January 2020 after announcing that he and his wife Meghan Markle would step back from royal duties. But if he's innocent, well, what are they all afraid of? He's also been doing a lot of engagements on his own, whereas he's normally joined at the hip with his partner in crime. Not literally, Harry, before he tries to sue me. It's a turn of phrase, Meghan Markle. His popularity has sunk to even lower lows, if that's even possible. Harry, on the other hand, is being received well, doing the only thing he really knows, charity work. So, being royal, but without being a working royal. What was the point of all of this, Harry? Well, joining me now to discuss all things royal is Lee Cohen. Lee Cohen, welcome to the programme. Really good to talk to you. Now, Lee, Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, on their recent statement, they were encouraging US citizens to register to vote ahead of the 2024 presidential election. It feels like they're sort of slithering into a bit of politics now.
Well, exactly, Nana. If the Sussexes sincerely wish to make a positive influence on the world and do good, as their motto says, they would withdraw entirely from the public discourse. They lack the integrity and qualifications to influence. I mean, this is blatant hypocrisy. The Sussexes Foundation has the audacity to complain political neutrality, while social justice warrior principles of that foundation, Harry and Meghan, consistently align themselves with left-wing causes and democratic standard bearers. The so-called publicly neutral statement regarding voting is nothing but a thinly veiled attempt to interfere in the 2024 election results against a candidate that Meghan Markle has long and famously deployed. And Nana, some Americans are even claiming it is nothing but essentially ballot harvesting for Kamala. The Sussex reality is that the American public hold them that the Sussexes must hold the American public in very low regard, as no one of any intelligence could believe this charade.
Very odd that they seem to be they think that they might become potentially more popular by getting involved in politics. Critics argue that their attempts to appear politically neutral are pretty insincere, and I hear you saying that as well. Now, there was a recent poll that showed that the majority of people who responded believe that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have crossed the line in US politics, voting with about 2,960 voting yes, and only at 993 saying no, they haven't crossed the line. I mean, there seems to be a backlash in almost everything that they touch.
Absolutely everything. And Nana, as a British prince, Harry is a foreigner with no right to meddle in American politics. And moreover, he disgraces his family, violating the long-held convention of the British royal family to avoid politics and divisive issues. And that's even though he has stepped back from royal service. But this blatant intrusion into our democracy is not just inappropriate, it's downright insulting, Nana. And, you know, one thing is absolutely clear is that, you know, there's some disagreement to whether Harry seeks a royal reconciliation and whether he is seeking a way back. But these blatant intrusions into politics and divisive issues should absolutely disqualify him from that ever happening, whether actually he wants it or not.
Well, I just remember that time when he said he called one of the amendments bonkers and said he didn't know anything about it, didn't quite understand it fully. So, he's not the best person to be advising, and neither even is Meghan Markle. We've seen her conduct. We hear so many rumours of people who've worked with her alongside her. They're on PR person number 11 now, I think. So, I'm not so sure. But let's move on to Harry's visa situation, because a Conservative think tank tried to access the details that he put in it and find out whether he'd lied about his drug-taking past, which he admits openly in his spare memoir, and which could have potentially rendered him impotent in terms of coming to the US and actually getting that visa.
Well, basically, the corrupt Biden-Harris administration, this may shock you, Nana, but my observation is the corrupt Biden-Harris administration makes two-tier Kier seem like a model of lawfulness, because ultimately this ruling broadcasts the excruciating reality that in the corrupt Biden-Harris administration, privilege and power will overshadow justice, and that it's crucial, actually, for the Biden administration to acknowledge that every individual, regardless of their privileged status, should be held to the same standards, ensuring fairness in our immigration system for all. And many of us Americans are outraged by this recent ruling. Historically, both Meghan and Harry, and you mentioned this too, have been spared public scrutiny for their appalling behavior, notably the result of the investigation into Meghan's well-known bullying allegations by her revolving door of staff. And now we have the circumstances surrounding Harry's visa, when nefarious but notorious figures like Harry and Meghan are allowed to evade scrutiny for their deeds, just like Meghan did in the bullying investigation. It exposes none of the corruption of a system in corrupt hands, and seriously erodes the public trust in our institutions, not to mention rewarding the most vile grifters, and that's not me saying that, that was Hollywood executives that labeled them that, and rewarding the most dreaded celebrities of our era.
And I would say in some cases, and in particular Harry's, because he acquired his status by birth, and now looking at what he's doing, I would say some of the undeserving, very undeserving of all of that wonderfulness that he's been gifted, to then come around and just try and lambaster his own family relentlessly, both of them. Do you think anyone will actually take these guys seriously? Do you think, could there be one thing in your mind that would actually help Meghan and Harry? And if there was one thing, what would you say it would be?
If there'd be one thing to help them, it's that
to improve their PR. If you were their PR, what would you tell them to do?
To improve their PR, I think to improve their PR, they need to completely make amends, apologize to Harry's family, and to withdraw, and to stop inserting themselves, and to stop this desperate clinging for relevance, and to stop the hypocrisy that this latest this professed neutrality that everyone in the world knows how Meghan Markle feels about Donald Trump. And to think that they're making a statement that's neutral it insults everyone's intelligence. So Harry and Meghan, stop the hypocrisy, apologize to Harry's family, and just go away.
I did say just one thing, but there's three. I think, as you said, Harry's family, I would say all their families. So I think, for me, the big thing, if Meghan Markle went to see her dad and apologised, that would. I don't understand why they can't see that if they did those things, just to apologise to their families, that would be really good PR. But I think they've lost their latest PR person. Anyway, Lee Cohen, thank you very much. Always a pleasure. Really good to talk to you.
Happy to be with you.
So, Maureen, PR expert, Edward Coram James. He believes that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, their unpopularity, is largely due to their poor PR rather than their character. What?
I don't see how one is inextricable from the other. You know, like the PR issue is just a wholly separate animal over which they have no control. In the US, just the other day, The Hollywood Reporter ran a vicious, damning story in which it was reported that basically the entire town has turned against them. Hollywood is done with them. The people who have gone to work for Archewell Productions, grown men reduced to tears by Meghan Markle. This is a quote, that she stomps around like a dictator in high heels. Now, their agent, Ari Emanuel, is one of the most powerful men in the entire industry. He threw a huge Emmys bash last weekend. Guess who was not on the guest list?
Oh dear. Oh dear. Mm-hmm. So this is serious stuff. I mean, if they've lost favour in Hollywood, they haven't really got much else. And that mansion and all those expenses around it, well, it can't be cheap to run. So what have they got left? Is there anything? Is there any shadow of credibility anywhere that can bring them a decent income, or where they're made to look good in some way?
So this is where the plot takes a very interesting turn. Harry is in New York City this week. It's UN week in the city. And he's been having dinners with Queen Mathilde of Belgium. He's attending all these symposia. He's making a play without Meghan, to be taken seriously as something of a royal adjacent. We're also hearing that communication lines have begun opening up again between Harry and Charles. So I think what's happening here is that Harry is attempting to make a very soft, gradual re-entry. The paperback of his memoir is coming out next month. He pulped the extra chapter of additional new information. These all seem like very small but meaningful steps to try to make his way back into the fold, because what else does he have? He has no longer access to the money that he would have had as a working royal.
Well, he got a little bit of money on his 40th, but I would imagine that it's people have said it's about 8 million, but that'd be like a drop in the ocean when you've got a mansion and all the other stuff and all the legal battles that he's trying to fight. I don't know why he hasn't stopped with those. Now, let's come to the visa documents, because the judge ruled that they'll remain private because it's not really in the public interest to find out more. Well, we'd all love to know more. I certainly want to know whether he told the truth.
Yeah, you know, the visa thing, it's one of those 1%er issues. We'll never know why it's being kept secret. We'll never know what's in those folders. I think we all can kind of surmise what those things may be. But I actually don't think that it really matters, because I don't think Harry is that long for the California experiment, which is really the Meghan experiment, which has failed.
It has failed, but it feels like that they're sort of slightly trying to step into a bit of politics now, as they seem to be leaning towards the Democrat Party, and they're encouraging people to come and try and vote, which is one of the things Meghan and Harry were doing. Do you feel they might try and step into a little bit of politics, or Meghan Markle might head in that direction?
She might. I mean, again, they're really threading a needle here. I think it's very interesting that Harry is in New York for 8 days without Meghan. This is the kind of stuff she lives for. And the excuse is that she's sick. Personally, I don't buy it. You know, like the worst case of pneumonia coupled with COVID-19 would not keep her from a news camera. So I think what's happening is he's trying to carve out this independent identity that, again, reminds people of his provenance, while she is attempting to lift American Riviera Orchard off the ground, 6 months, 7 months after she unveiled it. She's attempting to get this Netflix show off the ground. The reports in the Hollywood Reporter say that Netflix is not renewing their $100 million deal. You know, she's really got nothing going on. He's the one who's trying, I think, to make his way back in without her. That's got to be the deal. They'll never accept her.
Well, I mean, it's reportedly that he is actually eager to maybe mend relationships with the family, potentially with his return to the UK, starting with that, the Well Child Awards on September the 30th, which are coming soon. So he's coming to the UK very soon. And there's suspicion that he might be trying to make some sort of bridge or amends, but I don't know how you do that. I mean, he called Camilla dangerous in the book. He was horrible about his brother, pointing out the bald patch, complained about having to be in a small part of a castle. I mean, I'm not so sure. What about this interview with Good Morning America? Go for it.
So this is so... The Good Morning, this is so interesting because I don't know if you also saw this report, but this really struck me yesterday. There was a report that Harry's closest friend is his bodyguard. He has nobody in LA.
Sad.
He has nobody in Montecito. He's got tenuous connections still with a few friends of his in Williams back in the UK. But he also knows that time is running out. Charles is being treated for cancer. He's an older man. If he does not make his way back into good graces with Charles while he has the chance, he's never going to have that chance with William. William won't have it.
No, William won't have it at all. And William will be the next king. Maureen Callahan, such a pleasure as ever. Lovely to talk to you. That is Maureen Callahan.